Okay. Ina alhamdulillah. Wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Hadith class, and we're studying from the Hadiths from Riyadhus Saliheen, or the Righteous Garden, which is a book put together by Imam Nawawi. And tonight we're going to, excuse me. Tonight we're going to discuss the Hadiths that addressed women imitating men and men imitating women. I want everyone to understand that Islam forbids women from imitating men and men from imitating women. And I know we're living in the days of fitan. These are the days in which our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of the days in which women would imitate men and men, women, vice versa. We're living in the days where you can even choose to be a man. If Allah created you a woman, you can choose to take on the identity and change your identity to your gender, to another gender. But despite that, we have to remember that Allah is still Allah, and He's still the creator, and He still makes the guidelines and the rules. And even though we're living in secular environments, secular world, we still have to honor the 10 Commandments, and etc., etc., etc. We respect the laws of the land, but we still, in our personal lives, honor, our commitment and our covenant with Allah. So we're going to look at the hadiths addressing this issue. Let me share them on the screen with everyone here. And again, this is part of the 10 Commandments. This was in every book that Allah sent to mankind. So it's not a shocker to anyone from any religious background. Let's put the hadiths up on the screen here and address them. Take a look at them. Everyone should be able to see my screen. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger for you. For those of you on TikTok, please hop over to my YouTube channel. Open up a tab on your cell phone to YouTube, my channel SunnahFollowers, so you can see these hadiths that we're going to review for today. Let's look at the first hadith here, and this hadith is authentic. It's Sahih Bukhari, narrated by Ibn Abbas. May Allah be pleased with him. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed those men who imitate women, and he also cursed the hermaphrodite of men. So there you have it. And this is not a shocker to anyone here, regardless of your religious background. And also in another narration, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed men who imitate women, and also women who imitate men. And what does it mean to imitate gender? Let's speak about that, because nowadays we're living in the days of fitan, where Muslim women and men are uneducated. They don't know what it means to imitate something. To imitate something means to take on the appearance or the behavior of some that is specific to that gender. To take on the appearance or behavior that is specific to that gender. So I'm going to do something or take on the appearance that is specific to a man, or I'm going to take on the behavior that is specific to a male of the species, since I am a female. In the case of a man, I'm going to take on the appearance of something that is specific to the female of the gender. Or I'm going to take on the behavior that is specific to the male of the gender. So that's what imitate means. to take on the character, behavior, or appearance that is specific to the opposite gender. Write that down. To imitate means to take on the character, behavior, or appearance that is specific to the opposite gender that I was assigned to by Allah at birth. To take on the appearance, character, or behavior of the opposite gender from which I was assigned to at birth by Allah. That's what it means to imitate the opposite gender. And as you can see, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has cursed those men who imitate women and those women who imitate men. And now you can see another reason why the Hadith haters hate the Hadith. Because this is clear. All right? For a man to wear an item of clothing that is specific to a female. For example, for a man to put on a brassiere. A brassiere is only worn by women of this nation. Men do not wear brassieres. So if a man were to walk around with a brassiere on, he would be imitating a woman, because women of this nation do not wear, men of this nation do not wear brassieres. This is specific to women. All right? That's dressing like a woman. Another example, for a woman to wear a tie. Wearing a tie is specific to the men of this gender. So when you women put on ties, you are dressing like men. You are imitating a man, because ties are specific to the males of this nation, not women. You're imitating a man. I don't care what the fatwas put out from the Dower brothers in Texas say. This is imitating men. Wearing a turban. Turbans are specific to the males of this nation. No Muslim women should ever wear turbans, because they are for the males of this nation, not females. This is imitating a man. All right. Let's look at the next hadith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed a man who puts on the dress of a woman and a woman who puts on the dress of a man. Same thing. Women can wear pants, because pants are not specific to men. Women have been wearing pants since Allah created Eve. What do you think the Arab women wore underneath their abayas to climb onto a horse, to climb onto a donkey, to climb on even to elephants? They wore trousers underneath them. Harem pants, they called them. Harem pants. All right? But our pants don't look like the man's pants. They're different. All right? These are major sins that are been cursed by the Prophet Muhammad. A man has to maintain his male identity, just as the female has to maintain her female identity. We don't cross the boundaries. Let's look at the next hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are two types of people who will be punished in hell who I have not yet seen during my time. And he was talking about our generation, but Allah allowed him to see what would happen to our generation before he died. He said one of those groups are men who walk around with whips that look like the tails of a cow, and they beat the people with them. He's talking about the Taliban. I told you guys, this war did not begin with Gaza. This war began long ago in the late 1990s, early 2000s, with Afghanistan and Bosnia And then it spread it to Kuwait with Saddam Hussein in Kuwait. All right. The Taliban were very oppressive towards the women, the Afghanistan women, and the people. Walk around beating them with whips. Okay. Didn't allow the women. Women were doctors, medical doctors. They were so oppressive that they wouldn't allow the women to work. They forced the women to go to the streets and beg like beggars, starve the women, oppress the women, where they were forced to beg like a beggar, even though these women were professional doctors, trained doctors in the medical field. Like I said, that ethnic cleansing that the Bosnians went through. Their country was bombed and destroyed just like Gaza. The women, young girls, 7, 8, 9, 10, raped, pillaged, women impregnated with babies from their enemies, raped. So many young women took their own, they ended themselves because they were pregnant and humiliated. All right. The same atrocity and worse than what the Gazans are going through. You want to destroy a nation, you attack them from within, and you lay prey upon the most vulnerable of their society, which are the women and children. Okay. And then the second group, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who will be punished in hell, are the women who will be dressed but still naked. They will be dressed with clothing but still appear to be naked. And they will invite the people to evil. And they themselves will be inclined to it. He's talking about the women of today. Like how you sisters are dressing. No hijabs, no kimars. You got abayas on, but your breast belts around you, showing your big breasts, the breasts that you had reconstructive surgery on. Tight belts on, showing your reconstructed buttocks because you had a booty touche. Your Botox faces tightened up so tight with the fillers. Okay. Your eyes stretched to the point that you look like some zombie with the fake eyelashes going up to the moon. Nose jobs, your nose so cracked that you can't smile without it cracking more. Your lips fillered up, Botoxed up to the point that you look like you walking around sucking on a lemon. And the lemon is so sour that your teeth about to explode through your lips. Okay. Half your hair hanging out if you got a hijab on, you know, but you think you dressed and you're being sheikh, you know, you're dressed, but you still appear to be naked and you're inviting the people to evil. You're TikToking, social media blogging, and you're inviting people to your evil. You're putting your makeup on camera with thousands of subscribers, inviting the other young girls to do the same. The young Muslims, foolish women to follow you and do the same. And any man stupid enough, which are whole millions of them, Muslim men are stupid enough to follow you because they are not lowering their gaze like the Prophet commanded them to do to non-Muslim women. So they've bitten the bullet of the female devil. And you're inviting them to think that you are a scholar because you're mentioning the word Islam. You got these men thinking you're giving dawah, you know, when you're not. You're giving dawah for Iblis, though, but not for Allah. So you're inviting the evil. And as this hadith says, you yourself is inclined to evil. You're denying the hadiths. You're denying the commands of Allah, choosing which laws of Allah to accept, which ones to reject. You're into feminism. You want to be a leader. You want to be like the non-Muslim women and own your own destiny. Make your own destiny. Change your own destiny and be a traveling nomad around the world like the Kafir women are. Call your own shots. Be a man. You want to be your own man. It's a man's world, so you want to rule the world. You're posing on TikTok looking like a man, you know, with a manly stance. You doing the buffalo stance. I haven't seen the buffalo stance since the 1980s. She even stopped singing. Only song she made was Buffalo Stance. And you sisters got the buffalo stance down so well. With your manly looking selves, with your abayas open to show the booty touche, the Botox faces and fragmented, augmented breasts, dropping it like it's hot, even though it's not. You invite to evil, and the men are sucking it up, and you yourselves are inclined to evil, waiting for the next lay to pick you up, the next foolish man to accept your click, your invite, and make you his one night stand. The prophet also said these women, their heads will appear like the hump of the Bactrian camel, leaning to a side. Oh yeah, that's the buffalo stance. That doesn't mean that you can't wear a ponytail or you can't put your hair up in a bun. No, it's not talking about your hair. It's talking about that buffalo stance, the arrogance. You women, how y'all stand in those TikTok videos y'all make. Y'all see what I'm doing? This is the buffalo stance that the women stand in. The TikTok Dawah sisters. Y'all see them when they do their podcasts on relationships. They all got the buffalo stance. Their heads leaning to the side like this. And when they walk. You know that walk? Y'all see that video? They do it animated. They got the babies doing it too. The women walking to the side. Their heads walking to the side. Dun, dun, dun. They play that same song. And you hear the heels clicking. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It ain't gonna do what your hair do. It's the head. Like the prophet said, he speaks the truth. Their head, not hair. Their head will appear like a hump of the camel to the side. That's the arrogance. Inclined to one side, doing the buffalo walk. That's what we called it back in the 80s. See, I'm an older woman. You can learn from a Daya who knows the religion and also knows what's happening in the world around her. The buffalo stance. That's what it's called. And the buffalo walk. The buffalo walk of arrogance. That's what this hadith is talking about. And also what this part of the hadith means, that on the day of judgment, no, not the day of judgment. It means that when these women are punished in their graves, Allah is going to cause their head to appear 10 times larger than what it is. So that punishment is going to be even more severe. That's also what that part means. But their heads, the prophet was allowed to look into the future and see what would become of the later generation of Muslims. And he saw how we were dressed. We women in clothing with belts on, with the Botox, with the fake eyelashes, you know, the Dubai look, they calling it, okay? The Kardashian look, the fillers, the colored eyes. It ain't even fake contacts no more. We're dyeing our eyes green and different colors, blue, purple even, the violet eyes. Okay? Belts, tight-fitting clothes to show my fake breasts, fake touche, lips. And I'm going to pose on TikTok. Y'all see you sisters, buffalo stance of the 80s. It's back. And even when y'all take the little TikTok pictures, what do y'all do? Buffalo stance. When y'all do Snapchat, what's that picture, that pose you sisters take? Y'all always put y'all head to the side. Buffalo stance. It's back from the 80s. All right. This is what that hadith means. Y'all see why you need to learn from a woman? The brothers, they make this hadith mean everything but what I'm saying. Because a man can never figure out a woman. Only a woman can tell you about another woman. You brothers need to stop trying to give dawah to these sisters, because the sisters are just pulling you into their zina trap. Send the women to Laila Nasheeba. All right? Because I know them. I know their nature because I'm a woman. And I can break down these hadiths and the meaning to them because I know what women do. Just like you know what men do. All right? I can't tell you what a man would do, but I know what the hump meant. I know what the hump means. And I know the nature of a woman because I dislike these women. These women are sick. They're home wreckers. They betray you. They betray their best friends. I've been betrayed by these women. Okay? These women are vultures. They're she-devils. They're just what the prophet said they are. And I hate them for the sake of Allah, as all other righteous women hate them. And you brothers need to hate them for the sake of Allah too. So stop trying, to be feminine and figure out a woman, because you will never figure them out. The prophet told you brothers to beware of trying to figure them out, because every time you men try to get close to a non-mahram woman and figure her out, she takes your soul from you. She sucks it away and destroys your family and your reputation. Send them to me. Why don't you work on the men of this nation? Because the men have become cowards. You brothers focus on trying to rebuild manhood and leave the women to the women. Let us women deal with our kind. All right? If you brothers would push these women away from you, then they'd have no choice but to face the truth about themselves by having to face people like me who will break the truth down to them. All right? So that's what the head will appear like the hump means. It ain't got nothing to do with your ponytail, how you wear your hijab, or none of that. It's talking about your arrogance. You think you all that in a bag of chip with your Botox, your filler, your fake boobs, your fake breasts, and showing your body parts, which is all haram. Well, guess what? Because of all of that and your disobedience to Allah, because you have no shame, because chastity is a component of faith. Modesty is a component of faith. The prophet goes on to say in this authentic hadith, these type of women will never, let me get this part of the hadith correct too, because I've heard a brother recently say that they'll eventually go to paradise, and he's incorrect. You have to learn the Fusha. I don't speak Fusha, but my two teachers of hadith are scholars of hadith, and they do speak the Fusha. And when you read the Fusha, it translates to say never And even in this transliteration of the meaning, it uses the correct wording too. This is Sahih Muslim, because this version of Hadith can be found in other of the Sitta too. But this is the Sahih Muslim version. The Sahih Muslim version is the correct transliteration of the meaning. Don't say that these women will eventually go to paradise, because that's wrong. These women are arrogant. They're disobedient to Allah. They have no chastity. They have no modesty. Okay? Arrogance is a sin of disbelief, guys. We have to learn the different sins of disbelief. And arrogance is one of them. These women, because of their immodesty, because of their lack of chastity, because they invite others to evil, which is also a major sin, to call others to evil. They call men to zina, which is one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not adulterate. Thou shalt not fornicate. These women invite men to zina with them. And they themselves are open to zina. And they're arrogant about it. That means they have no shame. They're not shameful of what they do. So because of this, the prophet goes on to say, they will never enter paradise, and they will not even smell its fragrance, which means they won't even get close to it. So these women are damned to the hellfire forever. This is a sin of disbelief. Now, because they're committing many sins, many major sins, and they know it and they don't care. They're no different than Iblis himself. See, the brothers can't break this hadith down to you women like I'm doing, because they really don't understand it. And the reason they don't understand it is because they don't understand the nature of a woman. But I do. I do. I do. Okay? These women know what they're doing. And it's deliberate. It's intentional. And they don't care. They have no fear of Allah. They have no fear of consequences. All these nasty women care about is themselves, fulfilling their filthy desires. Well, as a result of that, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they will not enter paradise and they will not smell its fragrance, which can be smelled from such and such a distance. Ain't no coming back from this. These are horrible women. And this goes hand in hand with also the science of connectivity. Remember, we have to know the science of connectivity with the hadiths. This is the same khutbah that he gave when he went on to talk about the black bird with the red beak. He said, in order to be a woman who enters paradise, you have to be like that black bird. You have to be different than the majority of these women. The majority of the women don't care about nothing but satisfying her present needs. She can be married to the best of men. He can do everything for her. Oh, this is all the same khutbah. He can give her everything that she desires, and then let him forget something And then she'll look at him out of her ingratitude and say, you never do anything for me. This is the type of ingratitude and arrogance that Allah hates. And this is the same type of woman. She's so arrogant. She has no gratitude, not towards Allah, not towards a husband, not towards anyone. All this type of woman cares about is herself. Buffalo stance. She thinks she's all that and a bag of chips. Well, these are the women that's gonna bust up in hellfire, and they ain't coming out. And Allah is gonna cause their heads, as some of the scholars say, their heads will take on the appearance of a hump, and they're gonna burn with punishment. Allah hates a woman like this. And a lot of us women are like this. You see them on TikTok, putting on their makeup, making videos. Oh, we have to reject the hadith. Islam oppresses us Muslim women. We're beaten by our husbands. There's nothing wrong with femininity. Oh yeah, these are the women. And they do the buffalo stance. And they walk, head to the side, shaking it, showing it. The booty touche, 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 touche. Oh yeah. You think you're gonna make it to paradise, sweetheart? No. You're this woman. And they got you brothers eating out the palm of their hands. With their soft voices, their beautiful voices, and their fake Botox faces. You brothers are falling for them. They incline you to evil. They invite you to evil. And they are inclined to it. Do y'all understand this hadith now? Did I break this hadith down to you, sisters? That's the meaning of this hadith. Not what these Dawah brothers tell you. And they are not coming out of hell because they're unbelievers. All right? And as even the commentary here from Imam Nawawi is the same. I'm looking at his commentary. This has a warning for those who oppress people. That's the first part, like the Taliban. Then it has a stern warning for those women who go about wearing this type of stuff. These are immoral women, as he says. Just to be playful, to be trashy. These are shameless women. Like I said, these are, even he says in his commentary, and I never use his commentary, but even his commentary is the same as what I'm telling you. Shameless women, women of no morality, women of no ethics. Okay? And he put in his commentary, this hadith is one of the signs that the Prophet, the same thing I told you guys, just he shows I got the best teacher. That this hadith is one of the signs of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of the evils which he prophesies have been fulfilled, right? Muslim women have adapted all these evils and shameless fashions, blah, blah. Exactly. Sheikh Morsi is the best teacher I ever had. I learned the meaning of this hadith from my teacher, that's still my teacher, Sheikh Morsi. May Allah bless him. SubhanAllah. And even Imam Nawawi's commentary matches what Sheikh Morsi, my teacher, how he broke it down. These are shameless women. These are immoral women. These are women that have no fear of Allah. Okay? Women of zina. Like, unfortunately, many of you are. I hate to say it, but many of you sisters are women like that. especially those of you with the podcast shows. Yeah, y'all do y'all podcasts on relationships, and y'all talk about men and women, and that's haram. We're not supposed to be having those type of relationship shows about relationships and the buffalo stance, and y'all dressing like y'all dressing, and you got men sitting up there with you. Yeah, you do your podcast, and y'all got brothers sitting there, them brothers looking at your breasts. You sitting there talking about relationships between husbands and wives, and you got your breasts right out there, and your buttocks right out there, and you Botoxed up. You one of those women. No shame. You sisters have got to really, look at the brothers here. She's right. Yeah, I'm right. You sisters really need to TikTok out of here and Instagram out of here. Y'all shameful. Talking about you people. That ain't dawah. That's not dawah. That's filth. Okay, any questions or comments? Those are the hadiths for today. Questions, comments? Yeah. Right. They're not coming out of hell. In fact, guys, whenever you read a hadith that says they will never smell the fragrance of paradise, that means that they're never coming out of hell. Because if you will never smell the fragrance of paradise, that means you'll never enter it. Because as you guys have learned in our classes on paradise, paradise smells good. So if you will never be able to smell it, that means you're never coming out of it. That's common sense. So whenever you read a hadith, this is what I learned from my teachers. Whenever you read a hadith that says you will never be able to smell the fragrance of paradise, that means you are never coming out of the hellfire. That's another way of saying that that person will be in hell forever, because you can't help but smell the fragrance of paradise. Allah ain't forgiving you. That's a major sin. And it's only the major sins that you will read hadiths that say stuff like that. Like this. This is a trashy woman. That's a trashy woman. And the first part of the hadith was talking about oppression. Allah tells us in the Quran that oppression will be a darkness on the day of judgment. Allah hates any oppressive ruler. Allah is not going to forgive any oppressive ruler over the Muslims. Okay? That's another sin of disbelief. If you are a ruler over the Muslims and you're oppressive, this is major. So that's why we have to learn the sins of disbelief. It's not just worshiping an idol. There are certain sins of disbelief. And these are two of them. And the way these women look on these podcasts with these men, and these women are dressed up like prostitutes in abayas. That's what they look like. Prostitutes in an abaya. You know, they don't need to enter paradise because it's shameful to look at these sisters and the men that's with them that they're entertaining. It's like they're entertaining a brothel. It's like watching women at a brothel. Yes, I mean, have you guys seen those sisters in their videos? I can't stand to watch it. It's disgusting. You have these sisters sitting up on couches, dressed up in lavish abayas with their breasts sitting out, their behinds out, with all this Botox makeup on, and these nasty looking men. And I'm telling you, the men that they entertain are nasty looking, dirty men, sitting right there across from them, laughing and smiling in the sisters' faces. It's a flaunt thing. It's really nasty to watch. Flirting, they eat flirting and flaunting, and they're talking about women and men's relationships. It's the most filthiest, degrading, in the name of Allah, trash to watch. And they got millions of subscribers, and they on the internet. That's all they do. And the silly Muslims around the world watch this crap. We're talking about polygamy. We're talking about, marriage and relationships, and how men beat up their wives, and how men have 2-3 wives, and how, you're going to be part of the gammy. I mean, it's sad. And it ain't nothing but a pickup flirt thing. Nothing about Quran and Sunnah. It's just sick. And so they don't need to enter paradise. This hadith is about them women and the men that they are inviting to their couches. They're inviting to their studio couches, and they're doing this with. Yeah, they don't need to be in paradise because they shameful. It's shameful for us, a person like me, to watch. Yeah. This is what's happened to us in 2026 as a nation. Yeah. And the brothers need their behinds kicked for being a part of that. Mm-hmm. Desperate, filthy looking brothers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, any questions or comments? Go ahead. Any other ones? Wa alaikum salam. Go ahead if you got a question. Okay, Sister Susanna says, Sister Laila, these classes that we've been learning are so deep and they're so true. She said, I just want to say thank you for keeping it real, because everything that you're talking about is true and we see it. We're witnessing it. You're teaching us the basics of Islam. She said, but you're giving us the examples that are right in front of us. She said, may Allah bless you for keeping it real. She said, please don't ever change your dawah method, because you're keeping it real with us and we see it. We can't help but see the truth. Thank you. Okay, hold on for 1 second, guys. I'll call that back. I'll call that person back. Yeah, thank you, sister. Yeah, no problem. Okay, are there any other questions or comments before I get off? I have to call my family back. Any other questions? Yeah, I'm going to try to keep it real because this is some serious stuff that we're doing. If there's other questions or comments, let me log out because I got to call my family back. That was one of my family members. All right, I'm going to log out. Inshallah, make sure y'all check the schedule and I'll be here tomorrow. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.